This edition of One Play Wednesday is going to focus on the Ravens counter option scheme that was utilized by Lamar Jackson for a 10-yard touchdown run in the second quarter of their win over the Los Angeles Chargers on Monday Night Football in Week 12. This is one of my favorite play concepts that I've had the opportunity to try to cover and break down to the best of my knowledge since I began to try to evaluate and analyze NFL film in 2021. The counter option scheme utilizes not just Lamar Jackson's unique athleticism and skills, but his ability to read the option and make the defense wrong no matter what they do. So as we go through this video, I'm not just going to show you the play against the Chargers. I'm actually going to go through the reason why the Ravens utilize it, in my opinion, and what an added element that I think makes it almost an unstoppable football play, if you ask me. It's really a holdover concept from the time when Greg Roman was in Baltimore as the offensive coordinator. We'll show you the play here, a one-time through against the Chargers. Counter option scheme. Counter meaning you've got two linemen pulling from the right-hand side of the offensive line to the left. And then additional to that, since you're subtracting two players from the right-hand side, the point of attack, once Lamar keeps it, you're getting two players, Isaiah Likely on an arc release, and then Pat Ricard on an insert from the backside, are essentially making up for the subtraction of the right guard and the right tackle. We'll let you see it one time from the end zone angle, and then I want to talk and try to explain to the best of my knowledge why this play is so devastating as an option concept. Historically, if the quarterback was under center, the dive and the quarterback keep off of it went in the same direction. And this is actually something that evolved during the time when Greg Roman was here, such that out of the pistol, the quarterback, in this case Lamar Jackson, would get off the midline, and the running back was actually tasked with veering behind the counter scheme to the opposite side from where the quarterback would go if he kept it. Why did they have to do this? Because edge defenders are put in more conflict if one threat goes to the opposite side of the formation, and then the quarterback, the secondary or complementary action off of it, comes back to the direction of the read man, the edge defender, in this case Khalil Mack. Now, technically, by Khalil Mack's reaction, this should have been a give read. I want to go through some usages of it, and some tendencies or patterns that I've noticed. First of all, under Todd Monken, generally when you're getting diamond counter option, it's down here near the 10-yard line. He's utilized Lamar Jackson less on designed run schemes in 2024 and 2023 to a certain extent. But when he does choose to run the ball with Lamar, or at least give him the, quote, option to do so, it's down inside the red zone. Why? Because Lamar's so great at it. I think that Todd Monken is trying to maximize or optimize Lamar's usage as a potential runner. Same exact spot on the field, 10-yard line, this year against the Bills, obviously. And same exact concept from a different personnel grouping. This is 12 personnel, but gives you a really great angle view of it. If you ask me, the first puller, the right guard, Falele, is going to pull and kick. The second puller, this is not his path, but I feel like I have to draw it on that path in order for you to understand it. The second puller is the right tackle, and he's wrapping up. Those guys are blocking for the give. They're blocking for the running back so he can veer off of the midline, basically veer to the downside of our screen, the left-hand side of the left hash. Hopefully I said that in a way that makes sense. That's the horizontal conflict that is created, in my opinion. It wasn't always like that under Greg Roman's offense. In 2019, even though the offense was tremendously successful with the pistol option, the dive was oftentimes to the same side as where the quarterback would potentially keep and go out to the edge. And so these defenders, because of how athletic they are at the NFL level, they could force a keep read by Lamar and then recover and still play a role, affect the play from an inside-out leverage standpoint. Read man in this case is Von Miller. Right guard, right tackle, we're going to pull. We'll slow this down. I'm using a different video player, so please let me know if it's if the quality of the video is suffering or if it's stuttering at all. I'm attempting to use a different video player that is a little bit more consistent, in my opinion, with bit rate and some of the other factors once I encode the video. So you have an idea of what the counter option scheme is out of the diamond pistol with a tailback, either Justice Hill or Derrick Henry, and then tight end / fullback or two tight ends, one to the right of the quarterback and one to the left. Couple of examples just to make clear my overall point. And there's different versions of this play that have been utilized over the past 3 or 4 years. This isn't a Lamar Jackson play. It's certainly not a Todd Monken play. It's a Greg Roman play. It's a holdover concept. This is 2022 film. The Ravens lost in Jacksonville late in the season, and that's going to be the read man. Watch how they get this accomplished. It's not diamond. There's no tight end or fullback in the backfield, but they are still accomplishing the same task. So to the side of the read man, what you're getting is Andrews on an arc release. So they isolate that read man. Andrews could go get the boundary side corner. And then Ricard, who went in motion, is going to insert underneath of that read man the exact same path as what's accomplished out of the diamond, just a different look from a formation standpoint. Gus Edwards hits it downhill. I think the angle here presents a great opportunity for you, the listener and the viewer, to understand perhaps what I didn't do a good job explaining, which is Lamar as an option threat is on a keep is down here. The running back on the give threat is to the opposite side, and you see a very clear path or delineation of that path with Gus Edwards here. Like I said, 2022 film. It's a counter scheme with an option read. Are there times where we're not reading it? Sure. I do believe there's times where, especially Todd Monken now, is telling Lamar to keep it or to give it. What has always been unique about this play, and I've really enjoyed about it, I do maintain that it is essentially unstoppable if we read it correctly. Let me move this over a little bit for you guys. Is that there's multiple versions of it. So the one that we're talking about against the Chargers has 2 tight ends in the backfield, or 1 tight end and 1 fullback. In this case, we've only got one guy. It's broken diamond, or what I would call ram, out of 22 personnel. This is inverted. And so what I mean by that is, now the pullers are coming from the left-hand side. It's Linderbaum with the kick, and then the wrap by the left tackle. Again, you've got Andrews on the arc release. And so when I say they've inverted it, Lamar keeps it behind Ricard this time, versus on the previous play, the counter was going in the opposite direction, and Lamar ended up giving the football to Gus Edwards from the same game against Jacksonville, like I said, late in the season, 2022. They have run just straight counter this year, no read at all, in my opinion. You can oftentimes tell with Lamar, any quarterback for that matter, how long or how quickly does he snap his eyes from looking back or glancing back at the running back, but then also looking at a 45-degree angle at what would be the read man. That's a potential key. If he never looks in that direction at all, if Lamar's face mask is only looking kind of back off of a parallel line with the line of scrimmage, clearly he's not reading it. But just so you know, the quarterbacks are not going to turn their face mask completely to a read man. They're going to keep it kind of like at a 45-degree angle, maybe almost a 60-degree angle. Lamar here turns his head late, I think too late to actually be reading it, in my opinion. Number one. Number two, you also do have on the backside here kind of like this cupping action by the right tackle, securing the edge. And for me, that means he's not the read man at all. Henry bounces off a couple tacklers and keeps it. Week 1 film against the Chiefs. Finally, 2023, they can get it accomplished with no fullback in motion, no fullback or tight end in the backfield. This is counter option with an arc release, which is commonly used by option teams. It's a pain in the butt to deal with as a defensive end, 6 technique or a 9. In this case, it's Charlie Kolar looping around to the boundary. That's one common theme that you get here. And then the pullers is the center and the right tackle to the left side of the offense, the downside of our screen. Essentially, the typical usages of this is the running back and the counter scheme is to the field, and the quarterback keep is down into the boundary. This is Week 7 film against the Lions, 2023. Lamar keeps it. They really had a lot of trouble. They were forcing a keep read by the quarterback by default position. Some teams vacillate between which read to utilize. The Chargers generally on Sunday were stepping down a little bit and to force a keep read, and then veering off. And Khalil Mack actually, he didn't run on that path on a 3rd and 1. He actually kind of stayed flat to the line of scrimmage at a different angle. I perhaps should have shown it, but it was not pistol option. It was not counter option. The Pittsburgh Steelers would run the read man, the outside linebacker, directly at the quarterback to force a give read. The dynamic has changed, if you ask me. Gus Edwards, J.K. Dobbins, talented running backs. And we, as Ravens fans, know that. We know how good they were, particularly when completely healthy before 2021, but Derrick Henry's a different animal. And I like this play conceptually already, but the fact that we do this with Derrick Henry back there makes it probably my favorite football play in all of 2024 because you're using Derrick Henry to one side, in this case, the counter to the top side. Now, I'm not saying that it would be successful here, but based upon I'm not saying the give to Derrick Henry would be successful here, but based upon that read, it certainly looks like it should be a give to me. Lamar's picked up the read man already a little bit earlier than that Jacksonville play that I showed, which to me is what tells me that it is, in fact, a read. We get kind of blown up from an offensive line standpoint. It's a gap option scheme because it's counter flow. And essentially, from a mathematical standpoint, those two, the fullback and tight end, in this case, likely, are replacing the two offensive linemen who are pulling in this direction. And again, Rosengarten's path isn't necessarily drawn the exact manner in which he goes, but I do that for illustrative purposes so you can see it and see a difference between the two lines. And then it's replaced by, guess what this is, an arc release to the outside, and then Ricard up underneath of the read man, in this case, Khalil Mack. There is significant penetration and disruption of this play. Linderbaum is blocking back on the defensive tackle. Macari is trying to go down on the nose. The nose actually disrupts this because he impacts Linderbaum. Like I said, I got a new player here, so forgive me if the video is a little choppy. So Linderbaum is not engaging that nose tackle. That nose tackle is going to be blocked or tasked to be blocked by Pat Macari. It's just too far to go to get to him if he's going to step with Linderbaum. And he collisions Linderbaum, disrupts the whole daggone thing, obviously, and Lamar ends up going underneath of it, not the design of the play. So this is not, necessarily a clean iteration of it. And it must be said that this definitely recreates or almost recreates Lamar's iconic score from high school football, where he lets a defender pass through on the 1 yard line and then steps into the end zone with style. Counter option out of the pistol. I could watch this all day. I welcome any feedback or comments about it. If you're an option coach and you listen, first of all, I think you're cool as shit in 2024 to still be running option stuff. I think it's one of the greatest offenses out there, whether it's under center, pistol, typical shotgun, what I call A and B, or what some people call sidecar. Conceptually, it's just the way football's supposed to be. Mathematical, precise, utilizing angles, and putting the ultimate power in the hands of your best player, your quarterback, who is also able to run the football with success. Counter option out of the pistol, the way that it evolved under Greg Roman, we are still benefiting from that because of the ability to use it at a place and time of our choosing. I would like to see us in 2024 line up in diamond, show a play action look, and then throw the football, just so that we're not always lining up in that formation on the 10-yard line, getting ready to score and using Lamar as a finisher. He's a great finisher. He's a great runner, probably the greatest running quarterback ever, or one of the top two or three. So it just adds to everything that he offers to the offense. The scheme, the design of it, the timing in which Todd Monken calls the play, I think is exquisite. I wouldn't want to run this from the negative 40-yard line. I don't see a reason to, especially this year, now that we have Derrick Henry and so many offensive weapons. It's literally filthy how many weapons the Ravens offense has to utilize. There's guys that become underserved or underutilized, if you will, in terms of their total targets or total opportunities with this offense on a weekly basis, just because so many guys can make plays. We are a chunk play offense. And so just by definition, if the ball is on the negative 30 to start and we make two 12 or 15-yard plays, you, as someone who wasn't involved or maybe perhaps wasn't even on the field early in the possession, you might not get an opportunity on that drive. The opportunities are few and far between for certain guys at times. Lamar Jackson, I think it's brilliant usage by Todd Monken to save these plays until inside the red zone or halfway through the red zone, the low red zone, I guess, if you will, because he can finish plays and he can read the option, even though on that particular play, I do wonder if that one should have been a give to Derrick Henry. Appreciate you guys' time, man. If you like the One Play Wednesday conceptual videos, please let me know in the comment section. They're some of my most fun content because it forces me to go another route. Typically, short form on YouTube is not 15 minutes long like this one, but for the film study videos that I have been producing essentially this year, this is becoming short form content for me. Appreciate you guys' time. If you think other Ravens fans or other football fans in general would enjoy this film study exploration of the counter option concept out of the pistol, then please consider grabbing a link to this video, sharing it out on social media to help this content get more reach.